Hello and welcome to another episode in my Warhammer 40k Conquest series. In this episode we're going to have a look at issue 16's playing scenario. We're also going to have a look at the new rules for any keyword flight models. So I just wanted to quickly interrupt and just say that this is something new for me. I haven't dedicated an episode to just the tactics and the rules for an issue before. So let me know how it's gone. What you think about it, and if it's well received, then I'll carry it on. If not, then I'll just do a quick breeze over the scenario and the rules in future episodes. Back to it. So stay tuned. So before we get started, please click that subscribe button and the little bell icon next to it so you get all the notifications whenever I do an upload. Now, let's get to it. The fly rules. Now, this is pretty exciting. We got our first flying unit, the Inceptor, and he's got some really cool rules as well that we will go through as well. So, to start with, a normal infantry guy. If you want to get him on top of terrain, you have to measure towards it, then measure up it, and then if you've got any more movement left, you go along it. It all takes a penalty essentially out of your movement for every inch you're going up. With anything with the fly keyword, you don't have to. You just measure horizontally and ignore the height. It's that simple. It's exactly the same for moving past terrain as well. Just as long as you clear it, not a problem. In regards to combat, it's very similar. Now, the regular infantry guy, if he wants to charge past an enemy unit to another enemy unit, he can't. He has to charge the nearest enemy unit. So you roll your dice, you measure the distance, and as long as you make it, after Overwatch that is, then you make the charge. But if they rolled more than the 7 there, they couldn't charge the biologist putrefier behind. If the Inceptor makes a charge, let's see, and you do the Overwatch blah blah, he can charge straight over that unit and into another unit as long as he clears the first enemy unit. And there you go, nice and easy. If you wanted to do a tactical retreat or fall back as it's known, you just move straight away as long as you're moving at least 3 inches away from an enemy unit, and you can move in any direction, so you can move through them if you wanted. You can pop off some shots as well, as they have Codex Discipline, so they don't receive the -1 to their hit rolls in the shooting phase, so even more bonus. Now let's have a look at the Hellblaster squad rules, because they get neglected in this issue. Now, very much like an intercessor, all the stats are exactly the same. As you can see there, 3+, 3+, 4, 4, 2, 2, 8, 3+. Same as the unit composition. You can have 2 to 4 Hellblasters plus a unit sergeant. Okay, cool. They're all armed with a plasma incinerator, and they got cracking frag grenades. They have the bolt pistol as well, but we want to focus on the plasma incinerator. Now, what's great about this is that you get 2 ways to shoot it. You got your standard shot, and you have your supercharge. They're both 30-inch range, rapid fire 1, so you get 2 shots within 15 inches. But standard is strength 7, and supercharge is strength 8. So that sounds cool. Now they're both AP -4, so very good against heavily armored targets. But again, the damage is different. 1 for standard, 2 for supercharge. So why not shoot supercharge every time? Well, the ability on here is that on a hit roll of a 1, the bearer is slain after all of the weapon's shots have been resolved. So if you roll a 1, he'll blow himself up, but at least you get a super awesome shot. So you have that little bit of a risk. And then of course they have "And They Shall Know No Fear" and Codex Discipline as standard across the Ultramarines. Right, next, the Inceptor squad rules. So, stats are a bit different. They move a whole 10 inches, which is far. They also got 3+3+ on the web skill, ballistic skill, strength 4, but they're toughness 5, so extra hard to hit. Their wounds 2, 2 attacks, and leadership 8. You can have 1 to 3 in the unit, but one of them being a squad sergeant. Assault bolters, range 18, assault 3. So that means you can assault and still shoot them, and because you have 2 of them, you get 6 shots, 3 each. That's massive. Strength 5, -1 AP and 1 damage. What's not to love? You also have meteoric descent, which means that in the deployment phase you could choose not to put them on the board and to keep them in high orbit, so off the table, and then at the end of any movement phase you could decide to plop them on the table as long as they're 9 inches away from any enemy units. Now if you were to deploy them, you'd have to make sure that you are 9 inches away, but it's very cramped on this board. You'll have to wait until you're on a bigger board, I think, until you can utilize that ability to its maximum effectiveness. Crushing charge is also an excellent ability. So when you charge, so you declare the charge, they do overwatch if it's applicable, then you roll off, you slam into them if you roll high enough, and then you roll a d6. And on a roll of a 6, which I don't get, I get a lousy 2, you would do a mortal wound. So that is very good for targeting easy to hit units or high profile units to wear them down.
Secure the Fallen!
Okay, so get your stuff together. So all your terrain, you want to make sure you get used to using all those. Get your data sheets or data cards together, and you do a little roll off to see who goes first. Then you deploy according to the markers, like so. You got to make sure that you put one chap on there, and then you measure the rest from him, and they all look something like that. And then of course we place the objective markers as well. Player who deploys a unit last gets to go first. That's cool.
The game lasts for 5 battle rounds.
Set up, you got the biologist Putrefier, 5 plague marines and 12 poxwalkers for the death guard, like so. And for the space marines you got 5 intercessors, 2 hellblasters and an inceptor on this side. Seems fair enough. How to win: control your objective, that's 1 victory point. So essentially you just got to have a unit within 3 inches of an objective. Control an enemy's objective gets you 3 victory points. So you just got to make sure you got more enemy models within 3 inches of the objective to claim it, like so. Each enemy unit removed from play is 1 victory point. Speaks for itself really. So now that we've done that, let's have a look at the tactics. So what are the Death Guard players and the Ultramarine players going to do with their units, and how best to utilize them along with the terrain that we have in this game? Let's go through it. So as you can see, everything's laid out as it should be. Don't forget, you do want to use those storm bolters. You want to make sure you actually use the right model, if anyone spotted that. Now, pestilential explosion is an excellent ability, so you definitely want to get your biologist Putrefier into combat. Make use of that, because if he explodes, it's going to hurt them. So that's, and on top of his already good stats, Blight Racks, you want to keep him near your Plague Marines so you can utilize his Blight Rack rule. So keep them very close together. Keep him within 3 inches to make sure that your Plague Marines can use his rule and get the Hyper Blight Grenade. You also want to make sure that when you get the first turn, if you get the first turn, you run them straight in. Reason being is because they have assault weapons. The blight launchers are usable, and if you run the Biologist Putrefier along with them and keep them close together, you can get that grenade right up there before they even fire a shot. Also, make sure that you are close enough to the ammo so that you get the bonus from that as well. So there you go. Inexorable advance means that models in the unit can fire twice with rapid fire weapons at a range of 18 inches. They also do not suffer a hit penalty for advancing when firing assault weapons. So there you have it. So your bolt guns will get a little minus. They'll get a penalty for shooting because you've advanced, so it's -1. But they get an additional bit range. So instead of half range, which would be 12 inches for double shots, they get 18 inches for their double shots. Excellent. And then the assault weapons, so your blight launchers, they're freaking amazing. You pop them off, great. You get one of your guys to throw a hyper blight grenade, even better. You've just wiped out the Hellblasters in no time. But failing that, you can always charge them, so you always have that ability as well. Forget the special rule on the blight grenade, so you get to reroll hit rolls of 1s as well. Right, now Poxwalkers, what are you going to do with them? You want to use them as a bubble wrap. What is bubble wrapping? It's kind of what it sounds like. You get them around a unit or character that you want to protect, so no one can charge them or shoot at them. You also want to do a conga line, like so you can get to both objectives, so you can claim it early and block the enemy from moving towards yours. And this way you keep your Biologist Putrefier safe, and you get to boost the Plague Marines, and the Poxwalkers get to have fun. Now, Space Marines, you can get your Inceptor in there, but he could be in trouble because he'll be surrounded by everything. If you're the Death Guard player, you need to make sure that you look out for that, because he will get behind your lines. He can easily get on top of that terrain, pop some shots off, and charge straight into you. And he would have been out of line of sight to do any of that. He could easily move around, so he could shoot the Poxwalkers and then charge you, and you wouldn't be able to do Overwatch because he'd be out of your line of sight, as the Poxwalkers have no offensive weapons. Now, Space Marine, if you want to deal with those Poxwalkers, utilise your Intercessors. With the weight of fire, you can get them down in no time. So use them as a bubble wrap as well for your Inceptor to keep him safe. Move your Intercessors forwards. Get rid of those Poxwalkers before they get to the Storm Bolters and start chopping you down. And stop them from being able to protect their units. Also, Hellblasters, you want to get them into cover, like so, straight away. You want to be able to shoot at those Plague Marines. You want to get rid of them. They are going to be a bane. They are really tough to shift off of an objective, and they're just as deadly in combat and shooting. So I would suggest doing supercharge every time, because a roll of 1's going to miss, and the enemy's going to be in combat with you before you know it anyway. So you might as well just run the risk, because on a roll of a 1 on supercharge, you still get the shot. You just blow up. Poxwalkers, they will be able to contest the objectives because there's a lot more of them, but they will die easy, so you need to manage their numbers well. Try and use some cover if you can. Intercessors, you want to run them away and around. Don't get bogged down, and hopefully the Death Guard player will be stretched, because you would have shot some of their troops down and thin their numbers out, so they won't be able to hold both objectives, and he can get into their objective. Poxwalkers, you could be more cheeky. Say you don't have any casualties and you just want to be extra cheek, you can do an extensive conga line, and you can get at least 4 of your guys on Storm Bolters, plus hold 2 objectives in contest, like so. So this is the ultimate cheese, and remember, when your models die, you can remove the ones that you want if you're the controlling player of that unit. So there's no way of them forcing a split. You just take from the ends where you wish. So thank you again for watching. I hope you found that interesting and informative. As always, follow me on any of these social media outlets and put what you think in the comments below. As always, click the subscribe button, share with your mates, and enjoy. And before we go, our 40k thought for the day is: you are not required to think, only act. I'll see you next time.